Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody is having a great Thursday. Today, we're going to talk about the WA 55CG 7100 AV. This is the Samsung um, washing machine, one of their new ones. So, whenever I'm doing appliances, one of the things that I have got to have, okay, I've got to have myself a decent meter. If as we get along down the road, okay, we're going to need a good meter, and it doesn't have to be $1,000 meter. Uh, uh, today's today's meter, I found one the other day that actually was on where was it? eBay, not eBay. Amazon is where it was. It was on Amazon, and it was a digital multimeter that I didn't have to know exactly what each one of the dials was. The meter was smart enough to know what it did. I don't have that meter. I have the meter that is on the right hand side there, um, which is an amp meter, and my amp meter does everything. It'll check everything from oven temperature. Um, it'll check amps, volts, anything that I need it to. It'll check. Okay, that's the one that I have, and I use it on the right side. Now there is a meter on the left side. That's just your regular old multimeter. But you've got to have a meter. Don't try to do appliances and not have a meter. You have got to have a meter. The other thing that you really need to have with your meter is this. If you look on the right hand side, there are a set of little long, small probes. Okay, using in today's market, you need a set of those. Now, I will tell you this: you have to buy the ones that actually work for your meter. Okay, I ordered a set from Amazon that is the set that is on the right, and guess what? It wouldn't work on my meter because I ordered the wrong one. I have to be careful about what meter I'm ordering from, and I have to find it. But you need this, especially whenever you're checking DC voltage, because most of those are very small, and the only other way that you can do is the other way that I don't like to do, and that's to use a safety pin to check with. Okay. And I'll tell you, I'm old school. Okay. I still do. I still have my two little pieces of lead that I have that I can use to check. But you really need a good meter and a new set of little extended meter leads. Okay. The other thing, don't do if I'm going to carry a tool pouch, a toolbox, something like this, like it's on the left, I need a mat. Okay. And I understand people are going to say, no, I don't need that. That's wrong. Let me tell you, it takes one scratch floor, one scratch countertop, and you're going to go and buy yourself a mat. Now, that's just one of the things that I have to do to protect the customer's home. The other thing, I mean, whenever I whenever I was a technician, I later became a manager and an owner of an appliance company. Number one, I insisted, okay, that I had a set of booties, and I had booties in the with me that I could take and remove every time I walked into a house. Okay. I'm taking care of the customer's floor. I'm not getting dirt on the floor. It's just something that I wanted to do. Me being an independent servicer, I needed my guys to make sure that we did everything we could to protect the customer's home. Okay. I later became an install manager, and one of the things that I had to do was make sure that they had the right stuff to protect the customer's home whenever they're pulling in and putting product in the home for the customer. The other thing that I'm going to have, okay, I'm going to have today we're talking about a washer. one of the things is you can use either a a skirt that you can use to slide up under the washer itself to help move it out so I don't rip any floors. The other thing that you can use is an air sled. Okay, I do not have pictures of those today, but I am telling you, the air sled is expensive. It's come way down. They're down about half of what they used to be. But if I'm an owner, I'm gonna invest in an air sled. Okay, I may not have one for every guy, but I'm gonna have an air sled. I can tell you right now that Whirlpool. I just went to a Whirlpool class about a month and a half ago. They put an air sled on every technician's truck. Okay, that's how impressive. That's how important it is not to have damage. Okay. The other thing you're going to have is you're going to need a drill. Okay. I don't necessarily a cordless drill. I don't necessarily uh, use the cordless drill all the time. Like I said, I'm old school. I used a lot of times. I used most of the time my hand tools, but there is a time and a place for a cordless drill. Once again, you can spend $29.99, which is the price of the one on the left hand side, or I can go and go to Milwaukee and get myself a $600 set of drills. Okay, that's up to you. That's what you need. That is, if I'm going to have to take out 16 screws off the back of an oven, I want something that I can do quickly, and that's going to be one of the cordless drills. Do not ever you can take screws out of something that is in plastic. Do not ever put them back in. You can't put them back in with a cordless drill properly all the time. You may get through it 3 times. You may get through it 6 times. You may be the first time you use it, a cordless drill, you may destroy the plastic fitting. Okay, so just make sure that if you're going to do this, make sure that you have the proper tools. Okay, so we're gonna start on the washer now. One of the things that we're going to go through is the very basics on this. As you can tell, number one is the drain hose. Number two is there are 3 different types of fittings that you can use to attach the drain hose. Okay, at the number 2 is one of the ones that you can use. I actually don't like this one. I still don't trust it all the way, but there's the hook method that has the hook that automatically snaps onto it. It will actually come. The new one will come with one like that, or it actually comes with this one also. The other thing is, I have seen them where I had to put them in, and I always, whenever I put the put it in, the drain hose in, I always zip tied it to one of the outlets, or one of the hose washer, the hose where you turn the water on and off. I zip tied it to that so it never could come out. The last thing, I had a technician and he didn't have it zip tied, and I don't know if the customer moved it. Can't tell you. The only thing I can tell is I got a bill for $3,000 because of damage to a customer's floor, and we had to work through that. Okay, so just make sure that you're taking care of the customer's home all the time. All right. Number 3 is the lid. Okay, I like the lid on this one. Most of the time, it comes in either a clear or a black. I like the clear, that I can look into the washer and see what's going on in the washer. I like that. Number 4 is the water detergent nozzle. This is great if you're going to do hand washables. Okay. Let's say I don't want to run water in a sink and go through all of that. I can actually do it in the washer and can do a hand wash and use my use my washing machine like this to do my hand washables. Okay. And that's number 4 is where the water jet nozzle is. Okay. The number 5 is the bleach compartment. Okay. If you see right there, it's divided into 2 sections, just like everybody else has. Okay. Okay. So number 6 is the tub. You know where that is. Number 7 is where this pet filter is, the pet air filter. Now, the customer's supposed to clean this every time. We all know the customer is not going to do it every single time. You may walk in there and there may be a hairball in that thing. They're so bad. So what would cause what else would there be problems if I've got the hairball instance? I'm probably going to walk in and the customer's complaint is going to be it's not draining properly. If they don't take care of this and clean this like they're supposed to, and they have a lot of pet hair, you can have a clog in the drain, and that costs the customer a whole lot of extra money. Okay, so the one after the pet hair filter there is number 8, and those are the leveling legs. We're going to get into it, and we're going to talk about the leveling everything. Everything's got to be level. If not, you cause this tub and it bangs against the side. Sounds like it's going to walk across the floor. I had one that was so bad that's actually what happened. It would actually walk across the floor. Okay, we're going to get into that. Okay, so that's number 8. Number 9 is the water hoses. The one thing I'm going to caution you is whenever you walk in on a unit, don't assume that whoever installed it, whether it be the customer or somebody else, installed it properly. Okay. One of the things that I have found is that whenever I go in and it goes to the hot water, and I've got hot water and I'm looking for hot water, and some of the times it's not hot water, it's cold water that comes in. Well, that's a problem, So make sure that the hoses are hooked up properly. It takes 5 seconds to look at them and see. Okay. Then number 11 is the control panel. On this one, that's how you get into diagnostic mode. Okay. So we'll have to go through about how to put it in diagnostic mode. Okay. Number 12 is the active water jet. Okay. That's going to be how to get it in, how to do that. Okay. Now, this is one thing that I do like about Samsung. Most people, this is not how they load a blanket. Okay. Normally, what they do is they shove the blanket in there, and then they complain that it doesn't get washed properly, or they get a whole lot of lint off of it. Now, the pet hair filter will also catch any of the lint that comes off of like a blanket. Okay, so what you do is you take this blanket, you fold it up like it's showing. Okay, once you fold it in half, then you fold it in half again. Then I'm going to roll that up 4 times. I can put those inside that washer, turn the washer on, and let it run, and I will have a good clean blanket. Okay. Let's talk about the detergent assembly. Okay. So if you look on the left side there on that, the A button is where you put your softener. Okay. Okay. Number B is where you put your detergent. Okay. Number C is where you put your bleach. Okay. The one thing I can tell you is do not pour color safe bleach, okay, into the bleach compartment. Okay. Use the softener compartment only for liquid fabric softeners. That's the other thing. People try to shove everything into this in different spots, and you cause problems with getting the stuff out and where it belongs. Okay. So this is the actual what it looks like on the control panel. Okay. So just basic. To turn it on, you mash the button. This is going to be very important coming later on. Okay. So I'm going to turn the button on. I'm going to adjust it to what cycle I want it on. Once then, I'm going to select the soil level. From then, I'm going to go to see what I want to add or not put in there on like a pre-soak, or if I want to use the smart control. Okay. And then after I do that, I can go to number 5. Okay. If I'm going to change, the one thing that you need to be sure of to change the cycle, I want to press and hold the start pause button. Okay. Once I do that, I can select the cycle that I want. Then I have to repeat steps 2 and 3. Okay. I'm going to press and hold the start pause button again, and it will start a new cycle. Okay, so let's talk about our water jet. Okay, so if I'm going to pre-wash, okay, I can use the water jet function to hand wash my items so that I can put them in the washer. Okay, I can press the power button, turn your washer on. I can open the lid, press the active water jet to supply water. I can hand wash what items I needed to hand wash. Then I can press active water jet again to stop the water. Okay. If you want to hand wash while the washer is operating, press the start pause to hold it. Okay. To stop the operation, and then follow steps 1 through 4. So if I have something and I've decided, oh, you know what, I meant to go ahead and hand wash some things before I put them into the washing machine itself, I can actually do that. I just have to follow these steps all over again. Okay. So I have had several times whenever I got there, the customer either did it or one of the kids did it, but they activated the child lock, and then they could not figure out how to get the child lock out. Okay. So I'm going to press and hold the temperature and rinse button simultaneously for about 3 seconds. That will activate the child lock. Okay. Then you notice you get a little blinking light that shows it to indicate that it's locked. Okay. So everybody knows what the child lock is, but we're going to go through it anyway. Okay. If the lid is open when the child lock function is on, DC is displayed and an alarm sounds. If the water level in the tub is above the safe water level, DC is displayed on the LED indicator and the washer starts to drain, okay, by forced drain for 30 seconds. If the water level in the tub is above the safe level and the child lock function is turned on while the lid is open, CL is displayed in the lid, okay? These are all good things that you need to know about the washer because you're the expert. Okay, so I've got it. I've got CL in the display. If the washer is turned off, the washer once again drains by force. Okay, when the child lock is on and the washer is off, the water in the tub above the safe water level and the lid lock is open. CL displays in the display. No alarm sounds, but the washer drains the water. Okay, it automatically drains everything out. So you're going to have to start all over. The customer will. If you activate the child lock function while the washer is running, the start pause button, hold to start button will not work. So it stops everything. If I have the child lock on, it will not do anything. Okay. After the compulsory drain, CL blinks at 1 second interval, and the wash starts the CL mode. Okay, the washer in CL mode, only the power button works. Okay, to cancel CL mode, turn the power off and then turn it on again. To cancel the DC mode, deactivate the child lock function. To deactivate the child lock function, press and hold the temperature rinse simultaneously for at least 3 seconds again. Okay. So here it is. Tells you to press and hold once it's been activated. If I need to deactivate it, that's what I always had to do. I have to go and press temp and rinse simultaneously for 3 seconds. Okay. If a child enters the washer, the child may become trapped and suffocate. Yeah, if the water gets turned on, it'll kill them. That is exactly right. Okay. So here's the one note that I think you really need to know. If you need to add laundry after you've activated the child lock function, you have to deactivate the child lock function for it to work. Okay. So this appliance, once again, has several features where the customer can actually go into their washing machine. If this is hooked up on a wireless network, I can activate the washer from wherever I'm at. Okay, so here's what I have to do. Okay, I have to register my appliance to SmartThings, which is their app. Okay, make sure that your smartphone is connected to a wireless network. If not, go to settings and turn on the wireless connection. So select AP, which is access point. Open SmartThings on your smartphone. If you see the message, add a new device, select add. If there's no message that appears, select plus and select your appliance in a list of appliances. If your appliance is not listed, select device type, specific model number, and then add your appliance manual. This is what the customer will have to do. But a lot of the times the customers, once again, you're the expert. So the customer may be asking you because they can't figure it out. Okay. So after I do all of that, I can register my appliance through the SmartThings app. Okay. I'm going to then, once it's complete, my appliance will appear on your smartphone. If you're moving out, we recommend that you completely wipe the appliance and do not use the network reset before you leave it behind, because what you could actually, if they use the same network that you had, then you could actually do their you could actually program their washer and do everything they did, and that would be mean. Okay. On your smartphone, go to settings, turn on the wireless connection, set the AP or access point. This appliance supports the Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz protocols. I'm going to download the app. Go to Google Play Store or Apple Play, Samsung Galaxy apps. Find the SmartThings app by searching for SmartThings. Download the app on your phone. One thing you're going to have to go back. One thing you need to make sure that you do is periodically you're going to have to go back and reload the app to do for an update. Okay. So the first thing in the SmartThings app, create a new account. Follow the instructions on the app. You don't need a separate app to create your account. If you have a SmartThings account already, use the account login. A registered Samsung smartphone automatically logs you in. That's if you have a smartphone. Okay. Wi-Fi connection. To enable this function, you must first download the Samsung Smart Washer Dryer app from the Play Store, okay, or the App Store, wherever you get it, okay. When the washer detects an issue to check, an indication is automatically sent on the display to the smartphone care. Press and hold soil for 3 seconds, and that automatically does it. Excuse me. The washer starts in self-diagnostic mode, and a display of the information code if a problem is detected. Okay, I'm going to run the Smart app on my phone, then tap Smart Care. Put the mobile device close to the washer so it displays that on the smartphone app and the washer face each other. The information code will be recognized and automatically by the app. Then the information code is recognized. The app provides detailed information on how the customer can fix the problem, and it will actually tell them that they may have to call for service. Okay. The other thing I really like about this washing machine, it has a self-clean mode. Once again, is the customer always going to use the self-clean mode? Probably not. But you can tell the customer if they're noticing a smell or something like that in the washer, coming from the washer. You know, we've got, every once in a while you'll get that funky smell. Then you can download they can self look clean the unit. They can add up to 3/4 of a cup of bleach. Okay. Here it says that you should use it about once a month or every 20 cycles. All you have to do, remove all the items from the washer tub, ensure the tub is empty. Laundry detergent is left in the tub. The self-clean may be damaged. Okay, so you want to make sure that the tub is empty, that you don't have any laundry detergent in it. So you want to make sure that you got this all ready. You close the lid, turn the power button on, select washer, select the cycle of self-clean, press and hold the start button, and it'll start. Okay. One of the other things is, like I said, the water temperature for self-clean is always defaulted to hot. The temperature cannot be changed. In case a residue is present in the washer tub, add 1 cup of liquid chlorine bleach to the bleach to excuse me. That's easy for somebody else to say. Okay, so I can add up to 1 cup of bleach, okay, in the bleach compartment before I start the self-clean cycle. Okay. Do not use or mix any detergent or chemicals during the self-clean cycle. If necessary, run a rinse spin cycle after the self-clean cycle has been completed to remove any remaining residue. Okay. If I add 1 cup of liquid chlorine bleach, I'm going to run this cycle a second time with nothing in it, so that I make sure that I'll get all the bleach out, because the last thing that I want is for spots to be on my blue clothes or my red clothes, because I had some bleach residue in the thing. So tell the customer, once you do that, you've got to make sure, if you run the bleach the self-clean, and you put bleach in it, you have got to rerun it a second time. Okay. You can, like this says, okay, before the self-clean, remove any remaining water in the tub by running a spin-only cycle prior to the self-clean cycle. If there is chlorine bleach left in the tub for an extended period of time, you can cause the tub to rust. That's something that everybody should know. Okay. The pet hair filter. Okay. Like I said, I love this feature in this unit. This is what it looks like inside a tub. It's a picture of the inside tub. Okay. Sorry, it didn't come out great. It literally, it was at an angle that I cut it on, and I should have done a better job, but I didn't. So here's my pet clean. Okay. Excuse me. So the thing that you have to remember, this says clean the pet hair filter before each cycle to maximize the effectiveness of the pet care wash cycle. Okay. So like I said, not only will it trap pet hair, but it will pull out like people hair. It'll pull out lint that comes from a blanket. It'll pull all that. So you need to wash it at least every time. It's not like it takes 40 forevers to do this. Okay. So how do I clean it? the only thing I do is if you look at the arrow on the top of it, I push down on it, I pull it out, and then I can take that and wash it in the sink. Okay. Okay, if a sharp object is caught in the filter, open the filter, remove the object by pushing it out from the inside to avoid damaging the filter. Some of the times you're going to find that women underwire will be caught in that. You have to be careful and watch that, because the customer may call you and tell you that, hey, I've got this I've got stuff that's hanging my clothes. Well, if I've got an underwire from a bra, yeah, it's probably hung in this filter, and it's going to cause damage to the clothing. Okay, to reinstall it, it's simple. All you have to do is push it back in, snap it in, and then it's ready. Okay. The one thing you just have to be careful of is that you have actually installed it properly. Okay. One of the other things that I like about this washer, I can actually unscrew the mesh filter. I'll spit it out in a minute. Sorry about that. I have allergies, and for some reason today it seems like they're really bad. So we may have my throat is it's the reason I keep drinking. So I apologize about that. But I really like the fact on this that I can turn the water off. I can unscrew the hoses. I can take a pair of needle nose pliers and I can reach in and pull the filter out, the filter lint. So I can do all of that. I've got the mesh filter that I've pulled. Okay, I can now rinse it out and clean it. And put it back in. Why would I have to do that? Well, a lot of the times, if you're in a newer neighborhood, and they're constantly turning your water on and off, which happens all the time, you may have a slow fill. So instead of replacing the whole thing, I can now pull those those mesh filters out. I can pull those out and I can reinsert them. Please don't leave them out. Always make sure that you put the mesh filters back in place, because if you don't, you'll end up with all of the dirt and stuff in the washing machine, and the customer will be calling you back. Okay, cleaning the detergent drawer. This is something that the customer is supposed to do. We all know that the customer doesn't always do like they're supposed to. Okay. So I'm going to pull the detergent drawer out. Once I do that, I'm going to take my two fingers and I'm going to depress the tabs. Once I do that, I can pull that all the way out now. I can then go to a sink, clean all those out. Okay. I can run water through it. I can make sure that I've got everything so that I don't have a clog and it's now running over the front of the washer. Okay. I can go inside and I can take a toothbrush and I can clean the inside of that. Okay. Once I do that, all I do is I put it back together. You can see right here between A and B, all I do is put those together. I press it back in and it closes the drawer. I make sure that I close that drawer fully, and then I pull it back open to make sure that that it slides in and out cleanly. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly go through a fabric chart. Okay, our normal life cycle, permanent press cycle. Okay, these are all normal things. Okay, and they're going to be on the label of the clothing that the customer has. Okay. The customer needs to make sure that they're using each one of these properly. Okay. So let's go back. Let's talk about hot, warm, and cold. Okay. The one thing about this, the temperature range for hot is 135 degrees Fahrenheit or below. It will never get above 135. Okay. This, depending on which cycle what water temperature is, that's what is going to be determine what is what it is. Okay. There are actually 5 different levels of hot, warm, and cold. Okay. The cold wash temperature must be at a minimum of 60 degrees for the detergent to activate and effectively clean the washer. That's one of the things you need to be sure if you're up in the upper, if you're in the northeast. It's really cold. It's got the water temperature can be, if I'm selecting cold, it can be too cold. Okay. There's your bleach whenever you need it. Then it talks about permanent press, warranty. Okay. This is what the warranty on a Samsung washer is. Now, let me tell you, I am not a YouTuber. First thing this first. But I do like to go out and I do like to look at complaints and see what customers are saying. Okay. I'm going to tell you that Samsung is a stickler. Okay. Their parts and labor is 1 year. Their stainless steel parts, 3 years. Okay. The motor is 10 years. Okay. Depending on which, if some of the ones have 20 years, not currently with this washer. Okay. The washing AC motor is 5 years. Okay. Let me tell you, there is a customer that went out, admitted that it was not Best Buy's fault, and then she went to blame Samsung. Well, what actually happened was the customer went out and purchased a washer from Best Buy. She didn't need the washer. It was for a build. Well, everything got delayed and delayed and delayed, and she ended up complaining that that Samsung wouldn't take care of her. Okay. Well, their warranty states right there, parts and labor, 1 year. Well, whenever she finally got the washer hooked up and she finally started using it, something happened, and pardon me, something happened, and lo and behold, she needed a repair technician. Okay. Samsung, first she went to Best Buy, and Best Buy said, you need to talk to the manufacturer. She didn't purchase an extended warranty. I'm not a favor of an extended warranty, but I know how to repair appliances, so I don't really worry about it. Okay, but she blamed Samsung because all of her stuff took so long for her to get into her house. That's not Samsung's fault. Samsung is pretty much a stickler. I used to work on Samsung products, and I was an authorized servicer for them, and they were forever denying claims because it was installed, 2 months after the claim, and because it was out of warranty according to them. So if I'm a servicer, the number one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have a copy of the sales ticket. Okay. And if that sales ticket says that it's 10 days, 5 days out of warranty, I'm going to tell the customer, for me to work on this product, you're going to have to call Samsung and get a pre-authorization for me to work on it. Otherwise, I have to charge you for it. Now, the customer then pitches a fit because they have to do something else. And I will tell you another thing about Samsung. Samsung is very hard to get a hold of. Their line if I were to call them right now, and I would be on hold. Okay. So please have for your own self, so you're not left holding the bag. Make sure that you have a copy of the receipt. One of the things that I had my office personnel do was we required them to send me a copy of the receipt so that we didn't get stuck holding the bag, because you will get stuck holding the bag if you're not careful. Okay. And that's with any manufacturer. It's not just Samsung. GE is the same way. Whirlpool's the same way. They all are sticklers about their warranty, and while you may get 2 months out of warranty on one, and they say okay, Samsung is pretty much a stickler. Okay, their limited warranty is on products that were purchased in the United States. The other thing is, I had a customer that had one in Miami that bought it in Miami, brought it up to Georgia, and it didn't originate from from the U.S. It was from a different place. Well, guess what? Samsung knew that, and they said, "Sorry, this wasn't bought in the U.S. It's null and void." So they had no warranty. Okay. Samsung will provide in-home warranty within the continuous United States within the product warranty period at no charge. It's subject to the availability of Samsung authorized servicers within the customer's geographic area. If an in-home service is not available, Samsung may elect at its own option to provide transportation of the product to and from the authorized service center. If the product is located in an area where service by an authorized dealer is not available, you may be responsible for a trip charge or required to bring the product to Samsung authorized service center. Okay. I will tell you that my father has a Samsung refrigerator. Okay. I have personally put 3 ice makers in it. Okay, we all know that there's a problem with Samsung ice maker. But on the other side of the coin, I have never had somebody tell me that I was going to have to pay a trip charge, or I was going to have it shipped. That's something that's in there, and that going into it whenever you buy the product. But that's something you need to. If I am a servicer, I need to know that. And I need to make sure that I've got everything taken care of. Okay. So here's just another piece of the limited warranty. Okay. Let's talk about what problems we can incur. Okay. So right now the washer is not draining. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run it through a diagnostic mode. I'm going to see if the pump energizes, if it's not draining. Okay. What does that tell me? If it doesn't energize, if I don't hear it and if I can't check it and see if it's energized, I'm going to go to the board and see if it's sending power to the pump. If I'm not getting power to the pump, but I've got it from the board, but not to the pump, it means I have a wiring problem. If I don't get it to the pump and I don't have a wiring problem, I can actually have a problem with the boards itself. Okay. But let's say that everything checks out good and it's still not draining. So what am I going to do? Okay. First thing I want to do is I'm going to unplug the washer. Okay. I'm going to pull the washer out. Before I pull it out, I'm going to use a sump pump to remove the water in the tub if I can. If not, I'm going to have to put it on something so that I can slide it out so that I do not damage the customer's floor. Okay. From then, I'm going to get some rag and a bucket, and I'm going to have to get the excess moisture out. You've got to get the water out of the tub. Okay. Once I get all the water out of the tub, however you do it, I'm going to place the washer on the back. I'm going to remove the drain hose connector and look for items stuck in that area. Okay. I'm going to make sure that I can at this point I'm going to take the screws off of the pump. I'm going to look at the pump. I'm going to make sure that the impeller is free to turn. I can do that with my finger. Once I make sure that the impeller is easy to turn, I can check it. If I need to, I can check it with a jumper, and I can actually check the jumper on to make sure that I've got it to work. If something happens and the first thing that I really do is I stick my hand or fingers up in the side and see if I can feel something stuck in there. A child's sock, a child's pair of underwear, something small that's washed up over the top of the washer. That doesn't happen unless I'm using the uh, the deep wash mode, but you just got to be sure. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to look for items stuck in the drain. I'm going to look around and look inside I can look at the bottom, shine a flashlight around, see if I have any items that's hung that's preventing anything to get down to get for the water to drain. So I'm gonna look all of that. I'm gonna find any of that. If I've got that, I remove it, and then I'm gonna have to recheck it again. If it has, the reason I check my with my finger and make sure that it has energized, and then if I spin it with my finger to check the pump itself, is so it during everything else that should work. So I've now put it all back together. Once I put it all back together, I set it up. I put the hose in it. I do it for a short cycle, and I just run a rinse and spin. So I put a little water in it, lets it go, hit spin, check it again, make sure that the water is draining out. Once it drains out, I put it back together, and I've got my washer draining. Okay. So one of the things, washer not filling with water. Okay. The washer continuously fills with water. This is incorrect. Okay. So I'm going to put the unit in diagnostic mode. How do I do that? I hold the spin and the soil buttons. Okay. And then I push the power button. Okay. At that point, I'm going to take the selector switch, okay, the knob itself. I'm going to turn it to the right until I hit temp, and then select temp. Okay. That will start the water valve. Okay. The unit, okay, has several different options, combination of the water valve. I'm going to select each one. They will light up, and as it lights up, it will move to the next one. I hit the button again, it moves up, and now I've got two running. So I hit the button again. Now I've got three running. Now I got four running. Then I got five running, and then okay, each I will do this until each of the selections are lit up on the panel. If you depress the button again, then the display shows that no valve is selected, and if you still get water in the tub, then I've got a water valve problem. This is something that you can do without ever having to get back to the water valve, pull it out, and look and do that. So I'm telling you, this takes you maybe a minute to do. Maybe once you get good at it, you can probably do it in 30 seconds or less. Okay. So that's if the washers won't stop filling. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's talk about the codes. We all know that almost every smart washer has all these codes. Okay. So 1C is a water level sensor. Okay. So what do I do? I unplug it. I let it sit for, it says here 30 seconds. I always wait a minute. Okay, once I do that, I plug it back in. If I get 1C on the unit again, the washer will automatically drain for 3 minutes. During this time, the power button won't be operative. Okay, if I get a 3C, okay, it's the motor is not working. Okay, I try restarting the cycle. If the problem continues, you have to go. You have to go down and check the motor and find out why it's not turning. Okay, so you're going to check the motor to make sure that you have 120 volts to the motor. If I don't have 120 volts to the motor, I'm going to have to go up to the board and check the board. Okay, 4C, water not supplied. This is what will be. You remember we had talked previously about those two filters, the mesh filters in the back of the water valve. That this could take denote a 4C failure. Okay, you want to make sure that that's not your problem. So you're going to have to disconnect it, remove it, make sure there's not in there, put it back in. Okay. The other thing I can check is I can make sure, of course, the customer hadn't turned the water off. Make sure that the taps are not frozen. That's okay. Make sure that the washing machine is operating with a sufficient water pressure. So you'll have to go to the truck and get your pressure meter and check it. Okay. I'm going to clean the mesh filters if I need to, and make sure that the water hoses are not kinked. Okay. 4C2, make sure that the cold water supply hose is firmly connected to the water tap. If it's connected to the hot water tap, laundry may be damaged when some cycles are used. This all gets back to what I was talking about, having the hoses reversed. That's something that I always checked whenever I was coming in. You can look right over the back of the washer and you can tell them. You can see. Okay. 5C, it means that the water's not draining. Okay, that's all. That all gets back to what we just talked about. That would be our not draining water. Okay, 9C1, the electronic control needs to be checked. You have an over voltage error. Okay, so you're going to have to check this power supply to make sure that it's 110 volts. Okay, turn the washer off and plug it. Wait a minute, then the washer, turn it on again. The information code remains. You're going to have to go back and check all the connections to the board is where to begin with. Check all your connections to your board. I go around and make sure that all of those are done. If all my connections are right, I'm going to check power into the board. If I have the power coming into the board, I'm going to check power out of the board. If I don't have that power, I know that that's my problem. If I have that power coming out of the board, I go down to the other board. Like I said, this thing has 3 boards in it. Okay. Make sure that you've got the correct power through each one of those. Okay. So 9C2 is low voltage to connect, is detected. Okay. We're going to check to see if the power cord has a fray in it. I have done that. I have had them where they actually were frayed. They're going to turn the washer off, plug it up. Once I check that that's not it, I can actually try to check it and zero it out and have it try again. If it does, then I'm going to have to figure out why I've got low voltage. I'm going to have to check at the outlet itself. If I have the outlet coming right there, I've got to go to the board and I've got to check power into the board. If I've got the power to the board, I'm going to check around on the boards and I'm going to find where my power is being dropped. Okay. AC6 is the inverter communication problem. I have seen this several times. Once again, you're going to have to go check power in, power out. And if that continues, you're going to have to order a board. Okay. HC, that's your high temperature heating check. Okay. I'm going to if something happens and it's not right, and it detects that it has a high temperature. Hang on just a minute. Okay, sorry about that. Had a technician calling me. Okay, so we're gonna check the temperature going in. Once again, I'm gonna check from the board to the from the power supply to the board, from the board to the end of the board. Once I check there, I go to the other board and double check it. Okay. LC tells me that I have a drain hose issue. Okay. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to make sure that the drain hose is good. Okay. Um, an OC tells me that the water overflowed. Okay. So I need to make sure that once again I'm gonna go back in. I can check to make sure that the water valve is closed and that I don't have any that it's not overfilling. If I can't, if I detect that there is a problem, then I'm just gonna have to either replace the board or I'm gonna have to replace the water valve itself. So I'm gonna have to check my power from the board to the water valve. If I've got power going to the water valve, that tells me the board's not any good. If I don't, if I have no power to the water valve and I still have water coming in, that tells me that I have a bad water valve. Okay. So PC, okay, this tells me that the clutch can't be detected. Okay. We all know that on the bottom, whenever I pull the motor off, I've got that spin cycle and it's got that little relay down there that I have the PTC, and it's not seeing that. So I have to go and find out why. So I'm going to check and see if I've got a break in the wire, which is common, or it's come somehow the washer has gotten so out of balance that it's not that PTC off. So just make sure that we're checking that. Okay. Spinning, not this is part of it. UB spinning does not work. Okay. UR display for the rinsing. Okay. HC is the MEMS sensor. Okay. You're going to have to. That's going to be something that you're going to be called for, because if it sees this error, the customer's going to be calling you. The one thing that they can do themselves, if something happens and there is a firmware that needs to be done, they have got to use their phone to get it to do the firmware update. Okay, they can do that. If they don't want to do that, you can get an easy whatever you charge to go out there and use use their firmware update for that will happen, so that will fix. Okay, I know that we went through this. Like I said, this was a high level. Okay, um, I have a if does anybody have any questions?